I decided today to tell you what my favourite sniper rifle and setup and secondary weapons at the moment are in the game. So if you are planning on playing as Recon, if you haven't got the game yet, or you're playing as it and you're sort of struggling, then hopefully this video is going to be able to help you out. Now I say favourite, not best, because as you know I am quite easily swayed by how cool a sniper sounds and what it looks like. And this sniper is just, I think it's the best feeling sniper I've used in the game, this .338 Recon. It is the one that I prefer over everything else. It feels, even though it's not, like a 50 cal when it fires, and it's got just the most satisfying sound. Like if you go on the test range, a lot of people don't even know that exists, but there is a test range in Battlefield 4, and you just try out these different snipers. This one has just got like a sound which sounds so much more meaty than the rest of them, and it's got a really cool kind of bullpup design where it puts the clip like at the back as you see them when I'm reloading, and it just reminds me a lot of the L85, which was my favourite gun in Battlefield 3. Once again, that wasn't the best assault rifle in Battlefield 3, but it was my favourite gun, just because, not because I'm British, just because it looks so cool, like when you were using it with iron sights on. Now, just about this gameplay here, before I discuss the rest of the snipers, I've tried to edit this so that it kind of flows into one long mission, like my previous video was on Paracel Storm. So hopefully you'll like it. I've left in long chunks of gameplay in this in case, you know, because I think people prefer to see those when the game has just come out. I'm using the Shorty 12G as a secondary just to kind of try it out. It's not my favourite secondary, actually. The M1911 for me has got sort of more of a cool fighter, but I'm going to get onto the secondaries in just a second because some of them are just flat upgrades of others, so it's quite important to know which secondary is better than another. But the bolt action snipers, statistically, the Scout Elite should be the best bolt action sniper, or the easiest for you to use in the game. Reason being, it's got the second fastest bullet speed, but also the fastest fire rate. And as you probably know if you've sniped in Battlefield 3, the best sniper in that game, statistically, and probably was for most people, was the M40A5 because it's got the fastest fire rate. Because of course in this game, you've got to get a headshot, basically, unless you're using one of the pickup sniper rifles which kill anywhere on the body. But you've got to get a headshot with any that are in your loadout. So if you can fire the second shot faster and you get a chest shot, you're far more likely to take somebody down, which is often the deciding factor. The only two arguable weaknesses, in fact, of the Scout Elite, and I did show a clip just then in the bottom left so you knew which sniper I was talking about, is that it's got a pretty small clip size. I think it is a clip. People keep correcting me that it is a magazine on some things rather than a clip. I think it's actually called a clip that goes into the Scout Elite though, but I don't know. I'm sure somebody will tell me, as they always do, in the comments of this video. But it doesn't matter if you've got 6 bullets or 11 bullets, because if you're missing 6 shots, which I don't believe anybody can do on somebody, then the guy is going to be in cover by the time that you fire those 6. So it doesn't really matter if it's 6 or 11. And the only other downside of the Scout Elite is that it's not guaranteed to always kill in 2 bullets anywhere. So when you're using the .338, if you shoot somebody, then it does, as a minimum, if you shoot somebody right across the map, the minimum damage that this gun will do is 59. So you are guaranteed to kill somebody in 2 shots. With the Scout Elite, the minimum damage is like, I think it's like 36.6 or something like that. So you're actually going to need 3 shots to kill somebody at maximum range with it. But the fact that it's got a higher fire rate, and that really if you're firing that far away that you're hitting a minimum damage that sniper rifle does, you're probably not going to be able to hit the second shot before the guy has got to cover, just because of the travel time and the fact you've got to line up another shot really precisely. So I think still the Scout Elite is probably the best, but for me I'm sticking with the .338 because this is by far my favourite. Having said that, a lot of you are probably preferring other snipers and, you know, don't like the Scout Elite. I would say just sort of try and play with all of them and just see which you perform best with, because there are little nuances to how the snipers perform, how they feel and how they look on your screen, because how a sniper looks can actually really help you when you're lining up a shot. Like if you think the sniper's kind of pointing off in a direction, not to the center of your screen, then when you zoom in, you tend to zoom in like not onto the person, and it can make a big difference. This is my amazing driving, by the way. I think I need some practice, although I did find out that it is less responsive if you hold down the turbo button the entire time, like I was doing here. We ended up in the pond. That guy got out, I don't blame him. But as I was saying, the rest of the snipers, they all sort of sit in between statistically, but really it is up to you which one you prefer. So I would say just try them all. Now as for attachments for your sniper, I would say that you probably want to go with the 6x scope, because it lets you perform at the range that a bolt action sniper is meant to perform at. Like if you're going with a red dot sight, or you're just going with iron sights, or you're going with like an 8x scope is good as well. I use an 8x scope in Battlefield 3. But if you're going with much higher than that, then you're either too far away that you're not going to be that useful, or you're going to be sort of not as good at the distance you should be, so perhaps dying quite a lot if you're using a red dot sight. Or maybe you're just insanely good and you can do that. But I find that with the 6x scope and a 14x variable zoom attachment, then that's the perfect range for me. I can play aggressively if I need to, because 6x doesn't over zoom when people are near me, and I can take out people who are a threat and sort of stopping my troops from pushing up if I'm watching from the back. And but I'm not too far back, you see, so I can get in there and help as well. And I just find this is by far the best scope. You can, of course, if you get 130 kills with any of the snipers, get a 40x ballistic scope for them, which is just ridiculous. You have to sit so far back, and it's just, but I'm sure it's worth trying out just for the, failed my Batman there, but it's worth trying out just because it feels sort of epic, to be honest. But it's pretty much useless, that 40x scope. You could, I suppose, put canted iron sights on it and then have like super short range and super long range sniper just all in one. But I think you're probably better off with say the rangefinder with a scope like that, because I'm so unlucky right there. I just remember watching it back just now. That is aggressive jetting right there. But yeah, it is actually quite useful, the 40x scope, if you've got the rangefinder on, because and I'll probably show this in the bottom corner, but the mill darts actually line up every 100 meters if you're not using a suppressor. Suppressor just fucks everything, so don't use them unless you're using like a really short range scope on it, because the bullet drop is just ridiculous with a suppressor on all of the snipers. But if you're not using a suppressor, then the bullets actually hit every sort of 100 meters on the mill darts, so it is quite easy to line things up if you combine those two. As for other attachments, you'll probably remember from Battlefield 3, a lot of people put laser sights, which were more effective in that game. I think they reduced hipfire by like 50%, but they only do it by, I think, 25% in this game. But the problem with having a laser sight on is that it puts a red dot right where the crosshair of the scope is, and I find that pretty distracting because it kind of wobbles around and stuff as you move. You used to be able to bind to your right mouse button, toggle the laser sight on and off in Battlefield 3, which worked very well. Unfortunately, if you're taking a personal laser designator and you've got it bound to your right mouse button in that, the personal laser designator won't work. So until they fix that bug, I can't actually put a laser sight on, because I just find the red dot so distracting. This is what you call over-knifing somebody. Right? I don't know what I was doing in that clip, just slashing at him. I don't know. I wondered if it would do like a double knife. I've seen knifeception in this game, where it was just like one guy who got knifed by like 4 different guys, and then his teammate saved him 4 times. However, you've probably seen in this video, I've mainly been using the personal laser designator and motion sensors, although I have got a very good clip in just a second showing how you can use the MAV, because that thing seems to sit up in the air a lot longer now. And of course, that and the personal laser designator have got thermal vision on that just highlights soldiers in like a bright yellowy white kind of colour. So if you don't want to get snuck up on and have sort of good situational awareness, then MAV, personal laser designator, are really good. I'd say always take C4, like always take C4 as a recon, no matter what you're using, because your effectiveness on the battlefield is just so much better if you've got that. And I personally think that depending on the map, motion sensors or personal laser designator plus C4 are just the best combo. Bit of a failed Grand Theft Tank just then. He got to revive his teammate, could have shot him, didn't, and then he just got back in just before me. But there's an army of them now. There's an army of them, but they've been distracted, and that's the time to strike. Now, I guess I really ought to sort of cover secondaries in this video. Been using the shorty for the entirety of this round. I don't think I've got any of the chokes on it because they all affect hip fire, pretty much. And that duckbill choke is just, it's terrible. So, it does not room clear. I don't know why it says that on the packaging, but it definitely does not room clear that duckbill choke that you can get for them. But you see, the thing I like about the shorty, a lot of people thought it was going to be OP. It really isn't, because you've only got 3 shots, and it does like 8 pellets with 16 damage max. So you pretty much got to hit every pellet to kill somebody. So usually you end up shooting all 3 shots just on one person. But if you hit somebody with your sniper rifle, you are pretty much guaranteed to kill them if you just spam the shorty at them, because they'll be on so low health already. So it kind of guarantees those kills. It is worth noting though, and I'm going to go into all the pistols in much greater depth in a later video. Just covering briefly though here, the shorty, it doesn't actually add on to your pistol score. So once you've unlocked it, you're actually, by killing people with the shorty, adding on to your shotgun score. So you'll unlock more shotguns as a primary weapon by using it. So it's worth noting that if you're trying to rank up your pistols, you can't do so with the shorty. Now as for the pistols, just sort of break them down very quickly for you. There's automatics, which is the G18. That is the easiest one to use by far. There's also the M93R, which doesn't seem to me quite as good as the G18. It does have more ammo, but you can't spot and burst fire at the same time. It kind of interrupts the animation. So if you spot, as I regularly do, when you're shooting at somebody, it's not a good thing. This is one of the things you do with the MAV, by the way. Blow up enemy equipment. This was in Battlefield 3, but it kind of locks on now. But it's sort of useful to see. The rest of the pistols, though, there's some 4-shot ones, which is basically the P226 that you start off with, M9 CZ75, which I think it feels deadly, that thing, but it probably isn't the best. And there's also the MP443 of the 4-shot ones, and I would say the MP443 is probably the best because it's got the largest ammo count, and it's got very little horizontal recoil, so the vertical recoil is quite easy to control. There's also a couple of weak 5-shot pistols, the QSZ92 and the FM57. I haven't really used those that much because I don't find them to be that effective. There's a couple of 3-shot ones, M911 and Combat 45. Combat 45 is a flat upgrade of the M911. It's just got like 3 extra bullets in it, so just use the Combat 45 for the M911, unless you're using it for cool factor, like I am. And then of course there is the Magnum and the Rex. The Rex has got a delay on it, so I would say kind of avoid that if you possibly can. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to end it here because I've pretty much covered what I wanted to, and it is coming to an end. But thanks for watching, guys. I enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next chapter.